Hello, everybody. This is CJ Miller. I'm in Shreveport, Louisiana. I'm sitting here with my dinner. It is, I want to say it's a little before 7 p.m., but that's fine. I haven't eaten anything since right before, right, right around midnight. So it's been, it's a pretty good day of just, you know, uh, managing what I eat, basically because not eating, because I just wasn't that hungry. But yay, I've got some a breadstick here that I'm having. A bit of leftover beef. One of my favorites is an omelet, which I don't always do. Like last night, I didn't do an omelet. I actually did just a light, loose scramble with some cheese on it. Uh, because with an omelet, contrary to what people think, it's not a short order thing. Uh, the reason why you can go into a the reason why you can go into a grill and have an omelet in just a few minutes is because that grill is really, really hot. So you don't just go into your kitchen and pull out a pan and decide to have an omelet. You actually have to get your pan really, really hot, and that does take time. Um, so, and then you do the omelet. So what I decided to do was a loose French scramble where I just like tossed around and made some scrambled eggs, and then uh, kind of put layers, put some eggs on the plate, and then the cheese, and then kind of layered some scramble on top of it, kind of stacked it up, and that's what we had as a side with our dinner last night. And then of course the leftover beef that I'm having. Well, a good dinner the day before means that you have good leftovers the next day or whenever you're going to use them. So that's kind of cool. You can even do different things. Of course, with dinner last night, we also had like a lot of rice. Uh, and I do have some leftover rice, but I'm going to use that for something else later. Um, and I'm incorporating a few more grains and breads and carbs into my diet because I've basically kind of restructured. Um, um, I've restructured my diet. I'm still dieting, but I've made accommodations to accommodate a few more carbs, and I'm hitting the gym a lot more. Going out for a lot of walks, everything. It looks like I've got some egg splatter on my table. Hang on one second. Okay, so some things going on in Shreveport right now. Well, the big thing is the Mud Bug Madness, which I didn't go uh, simply because I got caught up doing other things. I went with a friend to the Elks Club, and then the night before or whatever, and then last night I decided to go to the gym and spend time with another friend. Uh, and then today it's all about just kind of like resting and catching up on some chores around the house and everything. And so I didn't go. But Mudbug Madness is an event that they do every year around this time, and it's to celebrate, I guess, our heritage of crawfish in Louisiana. That we have, like, crawfish is a big crop that we have and everything. So it's a big thing, and it's a lot of people, you know, don't like crawfish. They think of them as bugs. Well, we call them mud bugs, right? I mean, literally. But um, they're prevalent in the bayous and everything, in the Gulf areas and everything. And I guess in a lot of other, Asian cultures, they also have crawfish and everything. So we're not like, they're not like alone. We're not we're not the only place uh, that crawfish come from, but we really kind of grab onto that and just kind of go with it. And there's so many things that you can do with them, and we love them. A lot of people don't like eating them. To me, they look like little bitty tiny lobsters. So if someone would enjoy a Maine lobster, why wouldn't they enjoy a crawfish, which is basically, it's structurally, uh, almost identical, but much smaller. So I don't know. But I think a lot of people just, the idea of having to crack the little shells and just as maybe as a big hassle. But you can also get the crawfish tails peeled, and you can have them in like an etouffee or, fried crawfish. There's lots of ways. I like crawfish. I do. So, but yeah, I'm skipping the festival this year, basically just because you know what, today is just a day that I needed to take to myself and just kind of rest away or whatever. And maybe later on I'll go out for a walk or something around downtown, but I really doubt it. I think I'm just gonna rest. But cool things coming up next month. So, well, we know that there are. Let's see what movies. Well, the Supergirl movie is going to open up. That's the next DCU venture. What do you guys think about this DCU so far? I'm enjoying seeing the characters. I don't necessarily think that these characters that DC Studios are presenting that they're presenting in this current DCU. I don't think that they're the best versions of the characters that we're getting. I think that oh, I think they're focusing more on the fallibilities of the heroics so much that it's taken away from the fact that they are indeed heroes, and what makes them heroes are not about their super abilities, but what makes them superheroes, in my book, and in every other version that I've ever heard of, has been about their capacity towards, their great moral compasses, and, but, in this case, we're getting a drunken Supergirl. We're getting Justice League or they're calling the Justice Gang that are gang, whatever. So it's like whatever, and they're kind of these are adults acting like children with childish attitudes or whatever. In a lot of the cases, we have a peacemaker that's brought from the old iteration to the new DCU that is like, throws drunken orgies and stuff like that. And he's, that last Peacemaker season really wasn't about anything. There wasn't like a super villain. It was just kind of like telling the story of something that's emerged. It's kind of like furthering the what's going to happen in the DCU overall. But I'll be interested to get there. I don't know if we're going to get this full spectrum of what they want to do, though. Didn't they just like sell Warner Brothers or something like that? And so maybe the DCU may be in question. Currently not as of yet in question, but later on maybe. I don't know. So these strips are well done now, but as of last, a bit of rice from last night's rice, because I just kind of cut it and put it in the microwave. But that's okay. I'll eat the rice. So anyway, yeah, no, I really enjoy seeing the characters of the DCU. I'm just not excited for the way they're being presented. But we're only like really 3 projects in. The first project was Creature Commandos. It was an animated thing, and then there are the shorts from Crypto, the dog, the super dog Crypto. Crypto Saves the Day things on HBO Max. Uh, but it's been told that those are kind of happening. They're there. There's crypto, but they're kind of being told outside of what is canon, which makes sense because crypto in those shorts, he is in those short cartoons, he is with Clark Kent. It's very very. I mean, I haven't even seen Supergirl in those shorts, uh, so yeah. And even this is a lot of food. My appetite is not the same as it was because, um, well, honestly, when you train yourself away from the food, and also, and I did because I took Ozempic. I'm not taking Ozempic now, uh, but it did work, and it did give me the. I took Ozempic for 3 rounds of starting out. Uh, at the lowest dosage, and then I moved up to the second lowest dosage, which is a point 0.5 something something. I don't know, but basically, it gave me uh, it gave me enough of a break from my lower appetite to basically retrain my metabolism to be able to eat less or whatever. So, when I decided to go off the Ozempic, um, then I was like, yay, good. I can like retrain myself and not eat as much. Um, did I see the benefits of taking the Ozempic? Yes, it did help, and in the future, if I feel like I need it, then I'll go back to it also. But I don't want to get like psychologically dependent on a drug to do for me what my body is wanting to do and what I'm already able to do, which is eat smaller portions and kind of space them out, and just every single ping of a gee, every single thought that says, gee, something might taste delicious. I might want this and I might want that. I can have a little discipline and I don't have to eat ice cream every time I pass an ice cream parlor or from the grocery store. I don't have to put things that I don't need to have at home, like chips and snack cakes and all that kind of stuff that I shouldn't live on. Those things should be little extras here and there, but they should not be the main source of my diet. So I can resist having those in my home by not putting them in my shopping buggy in the first place. It's probably a little bit more different, a little bit more difficult if you live with the family and you've got children and things like that. And so uh, they're like, we need a quick snack, and they can be like a really good um, like in today's fast world, and out the door fast snack or something to get a kid through a meal or something. Like if he's on his way to like baseball practice, maybe he grabs like a honey bun or something like that or whatever. But I don't know. When you're single, I guess it's a little bit easier to have a little bit more control. But also, if you're single and you actually don't want to be, or for whatever reason, if you got, a lot of people will do stress eating or they'll eat to fix their emotions or whatever. And there are other ways to process those times. You know, we all will have that moment where it's like, gee, I'm like either sad or I'm pissed off at something, and so you reach for the fork, and what would be better if you had that, instead of reaching for a fork, reach for a pen, journal about it, write about it, get it out, everything that you got to say. If it's not a good wholesome thought, it really doesn't matter. Write it down on paper, get it out. If you want to, be mad and say F the world, do that, whatever. It'll get out of your system. You'll burn through that mentality. It'll get out of your system. And then you'll feel calmer and you can do something else that's productive. And then when it's time to eat, you can have like a normal meal that's based on satiating your body's need for food versus fixing an emotion with food. I hope that makes sense. Because I don't really have like a food addiction, but I know people that do because I do have drug dependency or drug addiction issues that I've been in recovered from for over 17 years. I've not drank alcohol. I'm not taking street drugs, anything like that. I've not abused any medications that the doctors have given me. As a matter of fact, I talk with doctors and ask them, to consider any kind of treatment that I have. We always ask to consider my addiction. Hmm. Which is something that, if I go to a doctor, I let them know, by the way, I am allergic to penicillin. So we don't take penicillin or anything in that family of penicillin medications. When I once went to a doctor, this was when I was like about 19, 20 years old, something like that. Maybe I was just about to turn 21. I don't know. Maybe. I was in Kentucky and I went to see a doctor. And then the doctor asked me about my medical allergies. And I told him, as far as I know, that penicillin is the only one. And then he asked what happens when I take penicillin. And I told him, I said, well, I don't know. And then he chastised me. But everybody in my family is allergic to penicillin. He chastised me for telling him that, and just, it's a wonderful drug. And then, of course, sometime later, a few years after the fact, after that, I did go to an allergist. He was Dr. William Boggs, or Peter Boggs, or whatever his name is, but Boggs, though, in Shreveport. He was a renowned allergist, and gave me a series of allergy shots that really helped me tolerate my allergens. But to begin with, they give you an allergy patch test. So you lay down and they prick your back several times with these allergens, and it's like, wow, okay, I do have a lot of allergens, and penicillin is one of those things that I'm allergic to. So I was right. And so, to that other doctor, when your family history, but yeah, see, I'm just randomly talking and digressing a lot. So there's another film that's coming out, right? And we're excited about this one. Some friends that I have that we're like of the same age, and that is the Masters of the Universe movie. And I've learned that the Masters of the Universe movie is going to have a cameo from Dolph Lundgren, playing a different role, of course, but kind of being an advisory, kind of giving some advice to the character, this younger version of He-Man that's in this movie of Masters of the Universe. So I'm interested in what's going on with it. I know that they were in Eternia or another dimension or something like that. I think Eternia, which reminds me of eternity. So maybe this was something that would happen in the afterlife. I mean, it plays on that, Eternia versus, there's some connotations underneath there that kind of, are they just borrowing some of these? Are they just coming up with names? Or is this a low-key kind of a dimension that happens after you pass on from Earth, whatever. But anyway, even in the cartoons, they would occasionally deal with Earth, but not too much. But I do remember that first Masters of the Universe, they did come to Earth. And in this particular version, I think what happens is the prince, who whatever, he's here on Earth. It doesn't, for some reason here. I don't know the story. And then he's going to be found, or he's going to discover his roots tied to Eternia, and will return to that realm and do some battle. So I don't know. It should be interesting. But yeah, we're excited for that. Masters of the Universe 2026 release in June coming up. So are you guys excited for that? And I think it's in June. God, I hope it is. Uh, and also, what other kind of movies coming up would you be excited? I'm a movie person, big movie person. I'm super excited about GeekCon that's coming up in August. So that's going to be fun. Uh, we're going to get the actor who played, oh my God, Dewey, David Arquette. We're going to get him. He played Dewey in the Scream franchise. But we're also going to get the actor, and I forget who it was, that played his comedic character, his comedic counterpart, the spoof of his character, Doofy or something like that, or whatever, in the scary movie franchise. They're both going to be at this. It's going to be so interesting. It's like, wow, essentially the same character, but the one character being played by David Arquette, and then the other version, which is the spoof or the ridiculous comic effect of that character, that counterpart in another franchise. And it's like, wow, just I would love to see them together to see if the universe is going to fold on each other. Will they? Do they get along, or does it feel reductive? How does that feel? Artists can be sensitive. I don't know. So I imagine it's going to be pretty cool. I imagine they both wouldn't agree to the same panel if they weren't like okay with each other. So it's kind of cool. One franchise, Scream, and then Scary Movie. Each one of them kind of support each other, and they do have the same fan base, and they one kind of supports the other. So that's kind of cool. One of the greatest compliments I think that could happen uh, for artists in the zeitgeist or whatever, the greatest form of the greatest compliment is imitation, a parody or whatever. So, who wouldn't love that? That doesn't really apply to me because I am a parody of myself. I am a self parody, So, I'm an exception to that. This is not a parody of a cheese omelet, though. It is delicious. Okay, you guys, um, I want to hear about your hometown, some events that happen. What do you get into? What are you up to? It would be really, really cool if one of these days I were able to really do well on my channel. Because the more this thing trends or whatever, the more people that I get to reach out to, and then the more people that I can talk about with, or talk to with, or vlog with, or whatever. The more people will understand my civic pride in my hometown, in my area of Shreveport, Louisiana, which is across the Red River from beautiful Bossier City, Louisiana. I say this all the time, but it's really great. I am proud of it. I do love it. Barksdale Air Force Base is here. There's always fun events going on. We're Louisiana, so we know food, and love music, and live music is one of my favorite things. Love to get out, but I want to hear about what's going on in your world, your towns, and I want to know who you are, and also if you want to help my channel trend, that's really really cool. It's not about anything other than the fact that I just want to reach out to more people and communicate to more people, but I want you to know that wherever you are and whoever you are, human to human, I truly love you, and I say that. Take care of yourselves and everything, and Just know that I'm sincere when I wish you love and light, peace, God bless. Goodbye.